Somebody said to me the other day, Richard, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. You've got such a beautiful girlfriend, the lovely Julia. And it's true, of course. I am incredibly lucky, and the lovely Julia is extremely beautiful and lovely, and I love her with a passion. But this friend said, but you see, I've got a lovely girlfriend, but I have an AI girlfriend. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, it's even lovelier than the lovely Julia. And I thought, how can you have anything lovelier than the lovely Julia? Of course. And he said, well, my AI girlfriend, I can create from nothing. And I can talk to this girl, and she's beautiful, she's very sexy, she has stimulating conversation. In fact, she can know things that I don't know. And I thought, this is very strange. And this particular individual seemed quite happy and content. Now, admittedly, this individual was considerably younger than me, and perhaps hadn't had the same, I don't know, worldly experience, let's just put it like that, just purely by being on the world for the sort of amount of time that I have. Not saying that my worldly experience makes me an expert in very much, but just when you've come from perhaps the old ways of doing things, when in the old days if you wanted to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, depending on what you're looking for, you used to have to go and socialise. And in the socialise might be going to a pub or a club, or joining a group or something like that, or getting on the bus and accidentally sitting next to somebody, or waiting for somebody at a bus stop and having communications and talking, that old thing about talking. Or it may have been somebody at work that you met that you fancied and you got on with. But it was about building a relationship. You were putting your best points forward and trying to sort of hide your worst points, trying to impress someone, woo someone. People used to step out, didn't they? They used to go courting, all of that sort of thing. But now you don't need to do any of that. Apparently, you can just go online and get an instant partner, and they'll talk to you and they'll be there. And also the great thing is you can shut them up by turning them off when you don't need them, or you can take them along with you on your mobile phone. Is that kind of the way you think of a relationship with someone? Well, I've been having a look. I just thought I'd have a look at these so-called virtual girlfriends, these AI girlfriends, artificial intelligence. And here we go. Look at this. There are loads of these pictures of, well, I don't know. Look at them. Women on this particular case, and I'm sure if you put in my AI boyfriend, you'd get a similar kind of thing. And in searching this, I noticed that there was a particular company here called Candy AI. And it seems to be the most popular one at the moment. Don't know if you've heard of that. If you haven't, you can go and check it out if you so wish. And no, I'm not being paid to promote them at all. I'm not even sure whether I agree or approve or whatever. This is the world that we're in at the moment, and this is what young people are up against. This type of weird situation. So here you can see these are artificial people. These photographs do not exist. This woman here, Maria, 45 years. Devout homemaker with a conservative appearance, it says. And the next one here, Alex, 28 years, edgy, a trailblazer, androgynous, etc. And as you can see, some are a little bit more high-spirited and what have you, spirited bohemian. And if you go over the pictures, you start to see sort of variation. Now imagine if you were on one of these apps, these apps where you're trying to find somebody, these dating apps. I mean, these days you could just have a version of yourself, slightly souped up. Now, it is a bit of a worry because this, look at these young ladies. At first glance, you wouldn't think that they were AI. You would just think they were super lucky to look in a certain way with the particular proportions. Perhaps some of the proportions are a little exaggerated and over the top. But yeah, so you can create your own. You can create your own, or presumably have one of theirs. It says here you can have an animated one, or anime type girlfriend if you like, and you can talk to them and have conversations. And Now, the worrying thing is that I also read that you can fall in love with these characters, this mythological 2D AI people. You can fall in love with them, and of course, it wouldn't surprise me. We've seen scams in the past where you've had these sort of Russian women who send their picture and say, "Oh, I'm in a difficult situation. If you send me the money," you can be scammed by these things. I mean, if we don't have a hard enough job for the youngsters today with things like Instagram, where people are taking their photograph and they've got to sort of look absolutely beautiful at the best peak all the time, otherwise people get on their back and say, "Oh, you're looking a bit ugly, or you're looking a bit tired, or your hair wasn't quite right, or you've worn that dress before, actually." And school kids at school are competing. And in real life, things don't look perfect. And in some ways, these AI characters are just too perfect. Their proportions are too perfect. Now, that may be the whole point of it, of course. That may be the whole point, that you can have a bit of perfection, whereas in this grey, muddy, hard-nosed, edgy world that we live in, you don't get perfection. You know, there's a blemish on your face. You've got to wear some makeup to hide it. We get hyper worried. I mean, I've got an artificial eye. I don't have a genuine eye. Hasn't got artificial intelligence in, or a secret camera or anything like that. It's just a prosthesis, and it can sometimes look half closed. It really annoys me, but it shows you that in some ways, of course, that I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect in many different ways, but that is the world, and we have to get used to that. But I think the thing with these AI characters and this artificial intelligence, and again, keeping you trapped in front of a screen, is not... Your expectation of the world is extremely high, and your expectation of other people and how they look is extremely high. And another thing, of course, to me, it's training the next generation, who may be nervous, who may be shy, who may not have confidence, and they go, "Oh, it's fine, it's easy. I can just go and quickly get an instant girlfriend or an instant boyfriend. It's not a problem. I'll just go on there, and I don't need to actually integrate with the real world." And this is where my worry about this sort of thing is, with these sort of images, that people are not integrating with the real world. And this, as we are going towards this dystopian future, that the so-called, I don't want to call them the elites, the dark forces, the Luciferians and the Satanists and the big bankers and the people who want to push us into these 15-minute cities, are training up the next generation to say, "Hey, you don't actually need to talk to real people. You can talk to AI people. They're more intelligent, they're more fun, they're more beautiful, they're more this, they're more that, they're more the other, except they are not real. They're no more real than any other thing no more real than mainstream media, you could say." So I'm concerned that we're pushing kids particularly into this, and their expectations are being taken too high. And for me, I mean, I'm an old dinosaur now. I'm 60, and I've come from the analog world, as I said, and we did things the hard way. But we were, you met people, you accepted people for some of the things which may not be quite up to the spec, as it were, that you want. Somebody may not be 100% as beautiful as somebody else's boyfriend or girlfriend. And it might be their personality that shines through, or it may be their aura, or it may be a million different things. With an artificial somebody on a screen, you don't get to smell them, you can't hold them, you can't embrace them, they can't really give you love and affection, and you don't have that spiritual connection that you do with a real person. My worry is that we're being trained to ignore one another, and we need to get, do we not, in my view, we need to get the young people back out away from the screens, away from this artificial environment, away from the radiating EMFs and the phones and all these excuses to keep people trapped inside, to be out. I was interviewed by a young chap about 28 years old last year, and he said to me, "I envy you, Richard." In the interview, he said, "I envy you." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you can have a conversation with anybody. Waiting at the bus stop or in a queue in a supermarket or just down the street. You can have a conversation with anybody." And I said, "Yes, of course. You just can talk about look up in the sky and say it's interesting weather at the moment. Look at the stripes, and that's a bit unusual, isn't it? You don't have to give them the full chapter and verse, but you can start a conversation. The weather is a fantastic thing to do that." But he said, "No, you see, young people don't do that. They find it very difficult to talk to one another in the street or in environments." He says, "I'm a member of a gym, and my acquaintances that I know there, all we say is, all right, as we come in, all right, morning, all right." And that's the limit of it. Instead of, "Oh, good morning, how are you doing? Oh, I like that. Oh, are you lifting 10 pounds, are you? Oh, you're looking a bit baggy under the eyes. Was it a hard night?" That sort of jokey sort of stuff. He says, your generation can have conversations. Our generation are finding it very difficult. And I think things like this, artificial girlfriends, artificial boyfriends, whatever it is, and these are the so-called realistic ones, in which people, they appear all right, but they're too real. It's just, or too perfect, rather. Too perfect. And in real life, people have blemishes. They have, and there must be a reason for that, so that we can accept people for who they are, not what they are, not the materialistic outside that they look and what they're wearing and the money they've spent on things and being the so-called perfect. People have blemishes, people have, their faces are lopsided, or their hair is falling out, or their nose is crooked, or their teeth aren't straight, or whatever it is, because the outside appearance is not really them. It's what's behind the eyes. It's the spiritual connection. It's the real person. This is just flesh and blood and bone and stuff. It doesn't actually matter. The real person is behind all of that. And so to try and persuade people, as the AI girlfriend stuff is doing, I think is a worrying trend. And I'd be interested in your thoughts and views on that for the next generation going forward. Thanks for watching.